I have to play 200 hours of poker in 30 days, or else I owe 5 of you $1,000. In the first week, I played 44 hours and made $8,815. I'm a little bit behind schedule, and we're gonna need to play more if I want to hit my goal. Let's play some cards. We're back at the bigger stakes. We're playing a private 5-10 game tonight that plays big. We've played this game countless times before, as you guys know, and the swings are real. Let's be on the right side of the deck tonight. Let's go. We're into the game for $3,000 and we start 5-handed. We win a few pots early and then already there's a $200 straddle. There's no easing into this game. We have pocket eights with $3,500 in our stack, essentially 17 big blinds. And since there's so many straddles, we're first to act. And I have a decent pair. I'm just gonna rip it all in and hope for the best. Folds around to the player in the $100 straddle. And he sticks in the money. I think it's likely that we're ahead here, but we're gonna go off the 2 runouts early for a $7,000 pot.
I have a pair. I have a high card.
Alright, we hold on both boards. That will get the blood flowing. We scoop in the 7K pot, and things are starting really well for us. After that, we won $1,000 in a PLO bomb pot after scooping. And then we played this one with pocket jacks. We made it $75 and we got 3 callers. The flop is 7-4 deuce, all diamonds. We have a diamond in our hand, but now Paul in the straddle leads for 200. He's an aggressive player that likes to get in there, and it's scary because he can have any 2 cards at any time. You never really know. Great guy, always super fun to play with. But my pocket jacks are not going anywhere yet. I call, and the small blind calls too. The turn is the 6 of hearts, and now the small blind checks. And Paul bets 600. Yes, we could be behind a flush or even 2 pair, but I've played with Paul enough to know that folding here is just not going to happen with pocket jacks. So I got to stick around a little longer. I call, but now it gets ugly because the small blind jams all in for 1,800. Paul surprisingly folds because he was saying he had a strong hand, but now he doesn't have cards. And now it's on me, but I don't expect to have the best hand here a lot, but we're just getting such a juicy price. It's really hard to fold. We don't need that much equity to call here, so he's jamming like 2 pairs, sets, straights. I think we actually have enough equity with our diamond to call. And who knows, maybe there's the occasional bluff with 1 diamond here too. I don't really know. It's probably a bit of a lazy call, but I just stick the money in anyway and quickly find out that we're drawing dead against King 3 of diamonds. Not my most proudly played hand, but let's move on. Let's forget about that last one, and in the next one we have ace 9 of hearts in the double straddle. The small blind limps, and Paul in the middle blind makes it $210. The straddle calls, and I could call, but I decide to get aggressive here and re-raise to 700. Paul is the only one who calls, and we're gonna go heads up to a flop. It comes ace jack 8 with 2 clubs, and he checks. I start with a small bet of 400. As you guys know, I'm just going to be betting here a ton. He pretty quickly puts in the call, and the turn is an offsuit 7. He checks to me once again, and I think we're just going to have the best hand here a lot. We could be beat by ace 10, but I think that anything better than that would have re-raised pre-flop or on the flop. He has about 2,600 left in his stack, which is a little more than the pot. I bet small again for 800 to just try to juice out some more value. This time he thinks a while longer before calling again. The river is a 9. We river 2 pair, but any 10 now makes a straight, and he decides to just donk jam for 1,800. If he has a straight, I'm just gonna have to pay him. I'm not gonna fold. I call, and he just shows me king jack for 2nd pair, and we turn over our hand to scoop this $7,000 pot, getting the maximum really with just top pair. Shortly after that one, we peel pocket kings. Oh boy, let's make this a big one. It doesn't take too long before that happens, because Paul, our friend who we got in the last hand, just open rips for 1,600. Oh man. Out of everyone at this table, the person that I want to stack the least is probably him. So I'm sorry, gotta do this to you, Paul, but I call and everyone else folds. Then something kind of funny happens. I tell him that I got it. Turn over my kings, and everyone's needling me because when you say you have it, it should be aces only.
Oh, I bet it's aces. Like, it's aces, dude. Ace 3 is not far behind.
I've only used it with aces.
I was just letting him know he was behind.
Sure. Yeah, but you don't know that though.
I guess, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Paul ends up having pocket tens, and I was just trying to be nice to let him know that I have a monster hand. Comment your thoughts on this. I don't know. Either way, we run out both of the boards, and we hold to scoop everything. I'm definitely lucky to wake up with it there. Alright, lock in, because now it's time for one of the biggest pots I've ever played, and it may or may not be a punt. We have queen 10 offsuit on the button. The player in the straddle has a bounty alert where if he wins this hand, everyone pays him $100. Paul open raises to $200, which is pretty normal in this game, surprisingly. This should be a pretty easy fold, but let's give some action back to him. I call on my button, and now the big blind raises to $800. The straddle with the bounty alert calls, Paul calls, and now it's back to me. $600 into a pot, that would be $3,200 if I call. Why not? I'm in there, I'm in position the whole hand, let's battle. The pot is big, and we're 4 ways to the flop, which comes queen, jack, 5, rainbow. We have top pair, not the best kicker, we could be in trouble, but we also just could have the best hand a lot. But now the big blind continues telling his story that he has a strong hand, and he bets $1,800. It's a little more than half the pot. Into 3 other players, it should be strong, but I surely know that this guy's gonna have plenty of bluffs here. When the other 2 players fold, and I just have top pair, I can't really go anywhere yet. I'm not loving life, but I have to stick around on the flop. I call. The turn is a blank, it's the deuce of hearts, and now he pumps the brakes and checks. I'm gonna be honest, this is very relieving to see, because I think if he had aces, kings, ace, queen, he would continue betting here a lot. I'm not gonna put any more money into this pot if I don't have to. I check. The river comes with 5, and I'm hoping to see him check like he did on the turn, but our life is not that easy, folks. He does not check. He in fact bets for $3,000 into the almost $7,000 pot, which, you know, it's under half pot, but now I think that we're just beating his bluffs. He's not going to bet anything worse than ours for value, and he's telling me that he has a hand like king, queen, or better. My conclusion is that I've seen him blast off here too many times to fold. Sometimes you just have to stick the money in. If he has me beat, then he can take my money. I put in the call, and he rolls over 2 kings. We're going to lose this nearly $13,000 pot, and honestly, a very well played hand by him, so gotta give respect to the guy. We got in there too loose pre-flop, and we got punished. In order to keep this video at a reasonable length, I can't cover all of the hands in this session, but we battled for the next few hours, winning and losing some decent sized 3-bet pots. Our stack had gone up to 8K, and then down to like 4K. And this game is super swingy, and you just gotta take it one hand at a time, really. I added on for another 2K, and it's around 2:30 in the morning now. Then we play a hand that I'm sure some of you guys are gonna have some opinions about. Quick story time to give some context on this hand. Player has the bounty alert, and on the first hand with the bounty, he shoved all in pre-flop with queen 10 offsuit, and everyone folded. The very next hand, he shoved all in against a raise for 4K, and everyone folded. And then he showed 9-6 offsuit. And then we played this hand. I have around $4,500 in my stack, and the player is still on the bounty alert. I limped from early position for $25 with ace-7 of clubs. I'm going to be limping all of my hands here because this guy is just going to be ultra aggressive here, raising super wide, so we want to have a lot of traps. Sure enough, it folds to him, and he just jams all in again for $5,000. It folds back around to me, and I think I have enough information here to think that we're going to be ahead of his range a lot. It's a high variance spot, but I think it's worth taking. I call. It's nearly a $10,000 pot, and I just limp called all in with ace-7. What is happening? But when we find out what he has, it's not looking good. He has ace-queen. We're dominated. We are not in great shape here, folks. We're going to have to find some help. We're running 2 boards. Can we find a way to win? Well, we can't improve on either board, and it's already almost 3 in the morning. I'm a little bit tired, so I just call it a night. That last one is a little frustrating, but we take a loss of $5,000 in yet another absolutely wild game.
Played for 9 hours. We left after the last hands because I'm getting pretty tired. I didn't feel like rebuying. And yeah, I don't know. The last hand's interesting, to be honest. Maybe he played into his image quite well. Who knows? Set his image with the queen 10 and 9-6. Sprung the trap. Anyway, super fun game as always. Super swingy, dude. We were up like to 9K and then back down to like 4, up to 9. Then, you know. Tomorrow I'm hosting a game at my house. Actually, it's gonna be super fun. Just with some friends, low stakes. So.
A few minutes later.
I think it might be a bit more of a punt than what I had originally thought for a couple of reasons. One, I don't know if he's going to jam super light given his image that he knows that he has. I still think he's going to jam stuff like the Broadways and like ace-5 and ace-4. and stuff like that. I think we can give him credit for that. 2, he has more money than what he started with. He won 3 bounties in a row. So he has an extra 1,500 or more. So it's not like he's jamming 3K, he's actually jamming 5K. A couple things to note there. I just think I kind of impulsively called because I had already like made up my mind. I think I should have thought about the spot more. And also maybe just like don't need to take that spot right at the end of the session sitting. I don't know. I feel like if it's a good spot, you still want to take it, but a little food for thought for you there. The good news is we put in a nice, juicy, long session.
All right, so next day, and tonight I'm hosting a game at my house. Just some 1-2 with the boys. It's going to be a super fun game. Hopefully we play for around 6-7 hours tonight. Let's go. Let's have some fun. The game starts out as 1-500 max, but it quickly gets out of hand, as you guys would expect. Everyone's having fun, splashing around. It just reminds me of why I fell in love with this game in the first place. Some of the most fun times I've ever had playing poker are at this table with these people. In this one, I stacked Danny in a pot after I called his 4-bet jam with ace-jack suited.
Yes, I would've. What'd you have?
Got him. We're still in for just 500 bucks, and look at my stack, dude. I'd say in total, there's almost $15,000 on the table, which is nuts. And then the drinks start flowing and the punting begins. It's all good though, because I don't mind giving back to my friends. We 5-bet jammed against Justin with 7-deuce offsuit and got called by pocket jacks. Not my finest work, I will say. But at that point in the night, it was slowing down and we ended up actually losing money. We booked a loss of $575 in 6 hours and 9 minutes. We came up just short, but had an absolute blast. Well, that game was crazy. We ended up losing 575 bucks. Fun night nonetheless. We logged 6 hours, that counts. Gotta get some rest for tomorrow. So, playing another big game tomorrow. Happy Wednesday. Tonight we are playing another private game. We usually play Mondays only, but we're running it back again tonight. And this game is gonna be bananas. I actually can't wait. The lineup is insane. A bunch of our friends are going to be there, and it's just going to be crazy. Let's just try to play good, you know? I know things are going to get crazy, and I'm excited for it. I also want to mention that I sold some action to a friend, 25% for these bigger games, just because they're pretty big and they can get high variance. You guys know how crazy these games can get, so I'm just trying to be somewhat smart with my bankroll. And at the end of the video, I'll adjust the profit loss with the 25%. So the guys from our game all showed up late. So we played at another table for about an hour and 45 minutes. And we won 1,635 bucks. A lot of that came from scooping a bomb pot, but hey, I'll take it. Pretty good start, and we haven't even started our game yet. The guys finally showed up, and we're into the 5-10 for 3K. We get going early when we open up ace-king to 50 bucks. Mo on my left raises to 200. Then we see a cold call from Danny. He just calls the 200. It's back to me, and I'm deciding on how much to re-raise. Mo has around 2,300 left, and Danny covers me for about 3K. We could make it like 800 here, but then the SPR is incredibly low if they call. Our hand doesn't really mind going all in here, so that's what I do. I have ace-king. How bad could it be? I just put all of our money in the middle, and Mo just ponders for a bit, thinks about it for a second before calling, and then Danny goes deep into the tank. What's going on here? He says that he thinks that we are flipping. I assume that means that he has a pair like jacks or 10s or 9s. And after a while, Danny sticks in the call too. And I mean, we're just off to a 3-way all-in. Early on in this game, just another day in the office, man. We're up against Mo's king 9 of diamonds and Danny's pocket jacks. Running it twice. Let's go.
No! Let's go!
Mo is going to scoop the main pot there, folks, with a flush and trips. Danny and I chop the side, but we both lose around 2,300. Absolute madness. It's gonna be a battle tonight. For this next one, we re-raise pocket kings to 250 against a $60 raise. Now Justin in the straddle 4-bets me to 600. Folds back around to me, and I mean, there's only one move with pocket kings here in my $2,500 stack. I jam all in. He doesn't snap call, which means we are definitely ahead, unless he's slow rolling me, because Justin probably would. He likely has a pair lower than mine, so I was praying for a call. And after a bit of thinking, he does call. Let's go. Not sure what he had, but he scooped this 5K pot. We're really good at winning money and then losing it quickly after. Now Hero called someone with second pair and was wrong, and then punted off $1,000 in a PLO bomb pot. Both self-inflicted wounds, which I don't think they're actually punts, I just say that word a lot, but we gotta keep grinding. Mo has the bounty alert for this one, and he limps for 20. My brother Gator's playing in this game, and he raises to 100 in late position. I have ace-jack offsuit in the straddle, and I decide to just call. Mo calls as well, and the flop comes jack 4 deuce with 2 clubs. Checks to Gator, and he bets 150. If I just call here, I know that Mo is going to continue extremely wide because of his bounty. Our hand is pretty much good to play for stacks here, so I put in a raise for $600. If Mo has any piece of this board, I think he's still going to call anyway, but he doesn't, he just folds. My brother Gator does not go away quite yet though. He calls, leaving himself with about 1,600 behind. It's around the size of the pot. Turn is the 10 of diamonds. Not super in love with this card because a lot of the hands that we were beating and getting value from on the flop, like pocket 10s or jack 10, is now ahead of us. We could still be beat by an overpair though, don't get me wrong, so I think it's fine to slow down and check here, so that's what I do. He decides to check back, and now I'm fairly confident that we're going to have the best hand, because I think a lot of his overpairs are just going to bet the turn and get the money in. The river comes to 3 of spades, and I think I just want to go for it all here against lower pairs or worse jack X, something like king jack or queen jack. And I know that Gator is extra sticky, so I think he could even call us here with something like pocket 9s, pocket 8s. So I jam all in for his remaining 1,600. He doesn't look that happy, which I think is good news for us. He says something along the lines though of, I'm not good enough to fold this, which in my mind I hope means king jack, but I kind of have a bad feeling that we're beat. He eventually calls, and sure enough, he shows us pocket kings. What's going on here? I didn't expect him to have that. The thin value jam on the river didn't go too well for us, and I double up my own brother. All right, let's make some money back with pocket aces. Brian, aka Rich Asian Bro, has the bounty alert. And let me tell you, he owns this game. He's very scary with the bounty alert. Out of everyone in this game, he's probably won it the most. As a raise to $75, 1 call, and now Brian to my right raises to 300. Folks, we got aces on the button. What a life. And I make it 900, just gonna play this one exactly like you think I would. Now we just have to pray that more money goes in. Folds back around to Brian, and he jams, covering me for 3,500 bucks. I call, of course, and we are off to a run out.
Hard. Wow. That's 4 and 5. Oh, no.
Well, that was a gift from the poker gods. Our stack is at 7K now, but the night isn't even close to over. We have pocket jacks and we raise to 100 over a $20 limp. And now Danny in the big blind makes it 400. I could re-raise here, but from these positions, I prefer to call. That's what I do, and the flop comes king 10-5 with 2 hearts. He starts out by betting small for 250. Not going anywhere yet, obviously. I call. The turn is a queen. It's another overcard to our pair, which isn't great, but it gives us an open-ended straight draw. Any ace or 9 would give us a straight. Maybe we'll get to see a cheap river, but never when you're in a hand with Danny do you get to see a cheap river because he doesn't slow down and he keeps betting for $1,000. So we're still beating his bluffs here, which we all know that Danny has, of course, and we do have potential to improve on the river. I say a quick prayer to the poker gods and put in the call. The river is a 7. We do not improve, and even better, he jams all in for 2,500. I do want to think about this for a second. Yes, we block ace-jack, but he can still have all the 2 pairs and sets that are going to shove this river. I would rather have something with a king or a queen in my hand to block those hands, but you know, sometimes you gotta give him credit, right? You can't just always be like, he's bluffing here, you know? He's always bluffing. Sometimes he's gonna have a good hand, and I feel like this is probably one of those times. So, give him some credit and fold. I take back everything that I just said because he wails his cards across the table and shows jack 8 of hearts. You can never count this guy out for a bluff. Danny still owns me. Alright, this next hand's gonna come a little bit out of left field here. Not gonna lie, I've been playing pretty snug all night, and it's time to let loose. The Nick game just started, and we're on the button with 7-5 offsuit. Brian opens up to 50 bucks, and this seems like a good spot to get aggressive and win our nib button. Not a good hand, but a good spot. I re-raised to 200. I don't do this often. This is why right here, because the big blind calls and Brian calls as well. 3 ways to a flop of 9-8 deuce with 2 clubs. We have a gutter, I guess, right? It checks to me, and I'm gonna try to win this pot. That's, why I 3-bet it in the first place. I bet 200. The big blind folds, which is a great start, but Brian doesn't go anywhere. He calls, and the turn is the jack of hearts. When he checks, do I continue telling the story that I have a strong hand here, or do I just give this one up and try not to lose any more money with this junk? If you know anything about me, that's a pretty dumb question. I bet 750, putting max pressure on a bunch of weak hands that he can still have. Brian is a good player though, and he's certainly capable of calling down light in some spots. He's not my favorite guy to try to bluff because he'll definitely own your soul, but here we are, a kid can dream. It's not looking too good when he calls the 750. We're off to a river, which is the king of clubs, and he checks to me again. With 2,500 in the middle, I have a little over 3K behind. What should we do? We don't block any hands that he's going to call us with, which is a pretty bad start. But we don't really block any hands that he's going to fold either. I think there's so many one pair hands that he can have here. He likely would have been more aggressive on earlier streets with a hand like 2 pair or better. And on top of all that, I got a pretty tight image in this game, I think. So I don't think he's going to call me down ridiculously light. And I think we're going to get a lot of folds from a big portion of his range. I came too far to give up on this one. I go all in. I put 3,200 in the middle, and Brian immediately looks unhappy, which means we have a chance. In my mind, I'm thinking about how I'm going to explain myself in this video if I get called. The longer he tanks, the scarier it gets. I'm just praying for him to fold. And after what feels like 7 months, he folds. Let's go.
What the fucky?
We turn our hand over and retrieve that nip button. Honestly, a massive punt, but I gotta keep these guys on their toes. The last interesting hand of this session, we end up getting all in against Mo for his $1,700 stack with the nut flush draw with ace-3 of hearts against top pair. Unfortunately for us, we can't improve on either run out. No hearts left in this deck apparently, and we lose that one, which is unfortunate. The game breaks around 1:30 in the morning, and after 5 hours and 50 minutes, we lose $4,385 in the 5-10, but since we won a little bit earlier, our total loss on the day is $2,750.
Alright, gonna make this quick because I am exhausted. We played for a little over 7 hours and lost 2,750. Not too bad for a game that size. Thought I actually played really well tonight. I think I'm navigating well with all the crazy side games, Nick game, bounty game, and just all the dynamics of this wild game. Yeah, we'll bounce back tomorrow. We're just gonna keep grinding.
Alright, I'm back at Hustler to put some hours in tonight. It was a little while before the 5-10 even started, so we played 2-5 and 5-5 for about an hour and 30 minutes. Making $797. Most of that actually just coming from one PLO bomb pot and playing red or black with my friend Richard, but hey, we'll take it, man. And then we head over to the brand new 5-5-10 game. We lose a couple 3-bet pots early on, and then we played this one with 9-8 offsuit in the $20 straddle. My friend Pally raises to 75 bucks from the middle blind, and I call. The flop is 10-7 deuce rainbow. We flop an open-ended straight draw. When he checks, I stab for $60. Only to get raised to 180. Not too mad about it though. We have 8 outs to make the nuts. Not going anywhere. I call. The turn is a 7, and now he checks. The old check, raise, check. What does it mean? I know that Pally's going to be somewhat balanced here, so sometimes if I bet, he's going to have some hands that are going to want to go all in. That would be an absolute disaster with our hand given how much equity we have. I choose to see a free river. I check, and I'm glad that I did because the river's a jack. Now we have a straight. With 1,200 left in his stack, Pally now decides to bet $820, which is 1.5 times the size of the pot. Obviously, we're not going to fold, but I was just wondering if it's worth it to go all in here for his last 400. I think there's an argument for both, but in game, I just decided that he's not going to call us with anything that we beat if we go all in. I don't know if this is right or wrong. Maybe I should just go all in and not worry about it, but I just put in the call. He turns over Jack 9, and we scoop this one. It's kind of like a mini knit roll. Sorry, Pally. I think his bet is fine though, because we're also just going to have a bunch of 10x hands that are going to call him here. We just got there this time. We try to keep the momentum going with pocket kings. After our friend Richard 3-bets us, we end up getting all in for a $2,700 pot, but he has aces. That sucks. The most classic poker cooler. He asks how many times that I want to run it, and I say if I'm going to suck out, I'm only going to suck out once. One time. Alright, nice hand, Richard. I've gotten him a lot more times than he's got me, so it's only fair. Hopefully that money doesn't go on Raiders' money line, though. Alright, we're stuck a little bit now, but it's our turn for aces. There's an early position raised to 30, 2 calls, and I re-raised to 200 with the best hand in poker. Only the cutoff calls, so we're heads up to a flop of 10-10-5 rainbow. I start out small for 130 bucks on this dry paired board, and he calls. The turn is a king. We just got to get more chips in the middle. We have a really good hand. It's pretty simple. I only have about $1,000 left. I bet 350, and I'm pretty much just going to go all in on every river no matter what if he calls, but he does not call. He goes all in, covering me for $1,000. If he has a 10, I'm just going to have to pay him off. I call, and he shows king 9. He's pretty much drawing dead, just to 2 outs. The rivers are clean, and we're going to scoop this pot at the end of the night. Goes around, comes around, man, you know? Back to basically break even in the 5-10 after 3 hours of play. A bit of a shorter session tonight, but I'll take it.
1:18 in the morning. Not the longest session in the world, but we started with 2-5 and then we played 5-5. Then we got moved to the 5-10, but it didn't run, so we did another 5-5 and then we played 5-10. Give or take 4.5 hours. And we made $700. I'm a little disappointed with our current amount of hours. A little bit behind schedule. I think I need to do better planning. I ended early tonight because I'm pretty tired and I'm playing tomorrow at noon, so I didn't want to play super late, get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then play all day tomorrow. But yeah, we really need to lock in and start grinding. We played 66 hours of poker and won $3,665 so far. That's about $55 an hour. I'm happy with how things are going so far. That is adjusted for the action that I sold, by the way. Thanks for following along in this series. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the next video, because it's coming out next week. I'll see you guys then.